The physicality ramped up at Miami Hurricanes football practice this morning, and we got some revealing one-on-one reps.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, if there is such a thing. I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC, and host of Postgame on the Miami Hurricanes radio network. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. On this loaded episode, as we're going to be recapping Monday's practice, talk about some young players turning heads out there, some good one-on-one battles, receivers against defensive backs. We'll talk about Carson Beck's day today on Monday, but let's talk practice standouts as we have the privilege of being joined by Peter Ariz. You know him, you love him, from CanesInsight.com. So Pete, first and foremost, who stood out to you today on Monday's practice?
Yeah, Alex, here in my car right outside of the indoor facility as we wait for practice to wrap up here. And yeah, man, I think the receivers had a strong day today. And CJ Daniels is someone that I think continues to stick out. The transfer from LSU started his career at Liberty, had a really nice deep post touchdown in one-on-ones against Xavier Lucas today. And Xavier Lucas had some really good moments himself today in coverage, but in this play in particular, CJ Daniels really showed the size that he brings, right, at 6'1", and the movement skills, right? He's healthy now. We see his ability as a route runner. Also because he missed a good portion of last year with that heel injury and was hampered with that at LSU last year. So I think health-wise, you're getting him, at 100% or as close to it as he's going to be. And then Malachi Toney today, to me, had the catch of the day in a one-on-one against Zechariah Poyser, who a lot of people have high expectations about him at the safety spot coming over from Jacksonville State this year. It was an outbreaking route, Alex, and he, as he's coming out of his break, is jumping, floating in the air, high points the football, snags it out of the air, and he's holding off a much bigger Zechariah Poyser behind him. And I think that's the thing with Malachi Toney that you're seeing, is he plays bigger than his size. He's not your typical freshman, especially at the slot position, right? You're not expecting these guys to be too ready physically from like a strength standpoint. He's going and making physical receptions across the middle. And look, we're still in shells here. We're getting to more physical as camp continues to go on here. But that's something that has impressed me about him right away.
So on Malachi Toney, this is someone, this is not going to be a redshirt year for him, right? We expect him to probably play a lot, if not even compete to start this year.
Yeah, and in that slot spot, I think obviously Tony Johnson coming over from Cincinnati, and he's someone who was a very productive player, 48 receptions last year. You've seen him. He looks like a really solid player, and I think that was a nice pickup for Miami out of the transfer portal. But Malachi Toney, I think, eventually rises as the main option at that position. Now, Notre Dame game one, is he going to be taking the first snap of the game, or is it going to be a guy who's played a lot more football? I don't know. But at the same time, the best players have to play, and I think you're going to get him on the field. He's going to play a lot against Notre Dame. And I think as the season progresses, Alex, this is my kind of I don't know if it's a hot take or a crazy prediction here, but I think this is a top 2 receiver for Miami in terms of production this season.
All right, well, if he's top 2, who's the other?
I'm going with CJ Daniels based on what I've seen so far. I just think that we've seen Carson Beck likes to throw to bigger wide receivers, and he's what you've got there at that spot right now. Josh Moore is a younger guy as well, but I think CJ Daniels will be production-wise wide receiver number 1, and he's emerged not just talent-wise and physically, but as the leader in that group. I know you were out at Media Day as well, and a lot of the young guys, not just the youngest, but the receivers and Kevin Beard have all talked about the leadership that CJ Daniels has brought to that room. And he's someone that guys are, I think, kind of leaning on as a beacon of knowledge, so to speak, who's been at, we talk about the respect that Carson Beck has having been at a Georgia, right? That these guys have watched him on TV. CJ Daniels, even though it didn't go according to plan last year for him at LSU, played at LSU, and that holds weight for these guys as well, knowing that this guy's coming from a program like that. So CJ Daniels, I would peg as number one receiver right now. And again, this is all production wise, right? So
Sure.
who knows what'll happen here once the season starts, but that's kind of how I see it right now.
Joined here by Peter Ariz from CanesInsight.com. Couldn't be at practice this morning, so he is my eyes and ears. We're also going to talk with Gio Million a little bit later, so it's one of the most loaded episodes we've ever had in terms of the media contingent. So, yeah, sounds like, Peter, a lot of good battles, one-on-one and 7-on-7s, receivers and defensive backs. So talk to me about the DBs. Did anybody pop on that side today for you?
Yeah, I think someone that I really paid attention to closely today was Jacoby Thomas, the transfer safety from Tennessee. And you know how it is, Alex, when we're in those media viewing portion of practice, like there's certain groups that we get an up close look at. There's other groups that are a little farther away from us. The beginning part of practice today, we were right next to the DBs, right next to the safeties. And Jacoby Thomas's size stood out to me seeing it up close, just because I think Miami has lacked that enforcer, that physical presence in the room. Zechariah Poyser, I think we're fully expecting him to be locked down as one of the starters. He had a very strong spring. Expectations are from the staff very high on him. And then you bring in Jacoby Thomas now, who wasn't here during spring, coming over from Tennessee. And he looks like the favorite to grab that other starting spot. I think Dylan Day is also coming on a bit there. But I also, someone who stood out to me, again, getting an up-close look at the safeties, Amari Wallace, freshman safety from Central. Most Canes fans who follow recruiting know he suffered a pretty bad leg injury last year that kept him out his entire senior season of high school. And he was a big 4-star recruit. I think people kind of forgot about him a little bit after that, but then came into camp healthy in the spring. And I'm not saying this guy's going to be a starter this year. I don't know how the significant reps he has, but he's someone who is a real building block, I think, moving forward for the defense. Bryce Fitzgerald, another one who's been working with the safeties group as well, from Columbus, a lot of speed, I think gives you some range back there. But yeah, I think Damari Brown continues to be someone, Alex, that also has impressed me, because we just didn't have him healthy last year, so you couldn't count on it. But you remember the flashes year one as a freshman. You remember what he did against Florida State, his physicality at that position, and then he moves well at that size too. I just said this a moment ago to someone, but we're always, I think, trying to move players' positions. Oh, well, why don't we try this guy here? Why don't we're weaker at safety, let's move this guy here. But let's take a step back sometimes and say that could be a freakish sort of skill set with his size and ability at corner. So he's someone to me that I think we got to keep right at the top of our minds.
Love it. Well, when we come back, as we're joined by Peter Ariz from Canes Insight, Gio Million's going to be hopping in a little bit, but I want to get Pete's take on Carson Beck. How was his Monday practice? Because every Canes fan wants to know, is he looking like the true elite QB1 we think he can be? You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends and family, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. My grandfather used to take me out to the course. He played into his 80s. When he was in his 70s, he was still playing circles around me. I needed 5-Hour Energy just to keep up. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. That's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th. On one order, cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch. For your next listen, make sure you check out Locked On ACC. Kenton Gibbs and I will have a new episode tonight. We'll be talking about training camps around the country, from Florida State, Miami, of course, Clemson, what's going on at Syracuse. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. Peter Ariz from Canes Insight, nice enough to join us. And, of course, he and D Money are all over your timelines as well, doing a fantastic job. They're on YouTube and podcast every single day. All right, Pete. So I guess this is technically practice number 5 today, the third one with media viewing. What did you see today from Carson Beck?
Yeah, something that I really like with Beck, Alex, is I think the reports have all been out there now that his arm looks good, right? That it's lively, that he doesn't have a dead arm, right? There was a lot of speculation over the summer about how he was going to come back from the injury, and yes, until there's live bullets flying and he's actually getting hit, I don't know that we're all going to know 100%. But that aspect of it, I think, in terms of just the pure health of the arm, has been pretty solid. What I really was noticing today too, and this is something D Money has mentioned as well when he talks about Beck, is he is very willing to take the check down. Now, I'm not calling him check down Carson, right? We're used to Cam Ward, who pushed the ball down the field obviously better than anybody, but there needs to sometimes be a balance. And I think if you had one complaint about Ward at times, was he's holding on to the football. He's trying to, get these chunk plays down the field. And a lot of times it was successful. But you have enough talent underneath in terms of the running backs, in terms of the Elijah Loftons you can dump it down to, that if nothing's there downfield, you're going to be able to pick up yards and stay ahead of the chains. That Miami was ahead of the chains a lot last year. We understand that they don't lose yards very often in terms of the run game, and then we know what they have done protection-wise for the quarterback position. So that's been a big part of what they do. And I think if Beck can keep this offense on schedule, then he'll be able to hunt those big plays down the field that we know is in his arsenal, with the arm that he has, with the athletic ability that people sleep on a little bit. And if he takes off and runs, he's probably faster than Cam Ward. And I'm not doing these Cam Ward comparisons for any other reason, just that, yes, if we just look on the box scores, it's going to be very difficult to say that Beck is going to do the same sort of stuff that Ward did. But if you're talking about guiding this offense and getting it through the season in a manner that has Miami in the playoffs, I think from everything I've seen, Beck is very well equipped to do that.
From what I saw the first couple of practices, people have their opinions on Emory Williams, but he practices well, Peter. That's been my take going back to last year, and seen some flashes from Luke Nickel and Judd Anderson as well. How did the other quarterbacks look today?
Emory looked good, man. I noted he had a few nice, as I pull up my notes here, had a nice 10, 15 yard throw across the middle of the field in 7-on-7 work to trying to remember Dalen Upshaw, freshman wide receiver. So nice throw by Emory. And look, I think we always try to say, well, this guy looks different physically. This guy's added weight. He's lost weight. He looks more athletic. And I don't know that's always the case with players, but I will say, and it could be, I don't know, maybe it's the number change. Emory's wearing number 8 now. That single digit looks a little more sleek on him. But he looks a little bit more, I don't know if the word's attentive, right? I don't think a guy becomes more athletic overnight. So I'm not saying he looks like quicker, but he looks a little leaner. And I think we know he's not going to be someone who takes off and is running for a lot of, yards, even though unfortunately he did that against Florida State. We saw what happened when he did that, but he's willing to do it. But I think he has shown that if he can move within the pocket, right, and not just be a statue, not be stagnant sitting there like we saw against Iowa State, then he's capable of running an offense. I'm seeing at least from what we're doing now, there seems to be more confidence of him stepping up in the pocket now. Again, a lot of this was in 7-on-7 stuff today, but the arm's looking good, man. He looks like he's put in good work in the offseason, and I would probably say that he's the favorite to be the backup right now, pretty strongly.
Well, that's well said. Great stuff as always. And make sure, I know you guys are probably already checking out Peter's work at Peter Ariz on X and all over CanesInsight.com and all over YouTube. Pete, thank you so much for taking the time, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Alex, thank you as always, man. Appreciate you.
Happy to be joined here by our good friend Gio Million, who was also taken in practice this morning, Green Tree in the indoor practice facility. Gio, I wanted to start with QB1 Carson Beck. Was he sharp today? What did you see?
Yep. Plays like a veteran guy. I've heard some stuff even coming out of the weekend practice as well. I think the one stark contrast between Carson Beck and Cam Ward, no offense to Cam Ward, he loved the big play, but Carson Beck also does a very good job in terms of going through his progressions. If the first read is not there, quickly getting through the others. Very willing to take the check down as well. You kind of see it in the 7-on-7 portion too. Had some really nice deep ball passes today as well. To one in particular to Joshua Moore, who keeps on mossing people in 7-on-7s. The way he was able to climb the ladder and come down with that contested catch, got a little shaken up, and then he was totally fine. Like 5 seconds after, he got right back in the receiver's line and kept on going. Beck even had another deep ball that was to CJ Daniels. It started off the right hash of the field. Daniels kind of did like a skinny deep post against Xavier Lucas, and Xavier Lucas covered this about as good as you possibly can. Just CJ Daniels made a better play. He made a better play. He did a tremendous contested catch, came down with it. A couple other guys that kind of flashed out there, I would say. Even some of the backup quarterbacks, actually, like Emery had a couple of nice throws. Luke Nickel had a really nice one to Malachi Toney as well. Malachi Toney had beat Jabari Antoine deep down the left hash. It was like about basically like a deep fade. And then there was a go route. I believe this ball came from Beck or Judd. I can't remember the quarterback on this rep, but there was a go route from Dalen Upshaw. He went up against Chris Ewald, and Dalen Upshaw continues to flash as well. Chance Robinson is the talk coming out of the weekend as well. I'll have more stuff later on today when I go live for a big show, but he's healthy, looks physical, can create separation. Ray Joseph has been a leader in the receivers room since camp is open, even ending spring too. He had a nice end to spring. Uh, he's carried that into fall. I think the competition is really healthy between all those guys, between Ray, Malachi Tony Johnson. Malachi Tony had some nice catches today as well, but even Tony Johnson, he caught a deep ball touchdown. He almost had a deep ball touchdown in the practice over the weekend. Just Ethan O'Connor had a really nice play, but good stuff overall from the receivers. Anyone else I would mention? Keelan Marion has some juice to him, but Xavier Lucas went stride for him with a deep ball. Bryce Fitzgerald with the defensive backs, the young freshman safety. I've mentioned it since Friday, watching the drills, how the defensive backs are going through things. He's caught a couple picks already through camp. It's been expressed to me that he plays with incredible range. Want to see what it looks like when the pads come on, how physical he is and whatnot. But flashed again today in 7-on-7, broke up a pass, I believe it was on Brock's shot. Amari Wallace had a really nice pass breakup that was on the 6'7" walk-on tight end, the myth and legend on campus, Owen Ruskovich, number 44.
Yes, sir.
Amari Wallace reached over his arm and ended up knocking the ball loose. I thought that was really impressive. Zachariah Poyser had some really good reps against Ray Joseph and Tony Johnson as well. Who else I would mention out there? Jacoby Thomas had a really good rep on Alex Bowman. Him and Alex Bowman have really been going at it the last couple days, actually, from what I've been told. So nice competition there. Jacoby Thomas plays with a lot of physicality. I think he might be one of those enigma type of players, to be honest with you, Dono. I know from some of the feedback I've gotten that sometimes maybe a little too physical, that where fans are going to be like, oh, man, like he'll kind of wow you. And then at times you may get pissed, like, why would he do that? But really vocal player, by the way. It's been mentioned to me. He's a great communicator on the back end. Dylan Day maybe having the best well, I don't know if I want to say best camp, because OJ Frederic and Xavier Lucas have had really good moments. Damari Brown as well, getting a lot of reps with the ones. But Dylan Day in particular with the safeties, he's getting a lot of reps with the ones. Um, all throughout camp, looks really good in terms of coverage. And I think the biggest thing that stands out, it's not only just with the receivers, but with tight ends. He is breaking up these passes. And I'm talking about contested catch situations, and he's able to get his hand in there and knock the ball loose. He's done it to Elijah Lofton. He's done it to Alex Bowman. He's done it to the other tight ends. He's done it to Brock Schott as well. Uh, Dylan Day, I think, is a guy that's really surging early on in camp. If this continues when pads are on, he's into the discussion to potentially start. This may be a surprise guy from camp. Oh, and another great one, Chase Smith, working a lot with the
Good.
first, working a lot with the first team with guys like Mohamed Toure and Wesley Dessaint. He had 2 pass breakups today in 7-on-7 work. Again, he's another guy I want to see what it looks like when pads come on, but so far so good, getting a lot of quality reps early on. We'll see if it continues on. He looks really healthy, by the way. I know everyone remembers when he was a freshman and what he flashed, and unfortunately multiple knee injuries. No knee brace now, no leg sleeve, none of that. He's full go out there running around. Cam Pruitt had some nice reps in coverage as well. Kellen Wiley, in particular, stood out to me on 2 separate occasions. There was one where the quarterbacks and the offensive line, they were kind of simulating the situation with D linemen, where I would say is kind of like a pocket presence type of thing, like kind of building up the pocket. Kellen Wiley came in so fast. I would say it was off the right edge, that just his quickness was really impressive. And there was one rep he had where Beck hit a running back on a flat in 7-on-7 work, and Wiley just closed super quick. I think his athleticism really stands out. And then from the far side of the field, I couldn't see it very great, but I caught a couple of reps that really stood out. Mohamed Toure, even though he's got that little knee brace on, it doesn't seem to be slowing him down. I've heard some good things about him rushing the passer as well from over the weekend. But in particular from today, he it was like these agility drills for linebackers, and his movement and just explosiveness is just the way he was able to cut, and how he was bursting out of each cut was really impressive for a guy that's like 6'2", 240 pounds. I was like, man, like really, really impressive. And then any last takeaways I'll mention? Xavier Lucas had a nice day as well. Who else out there? Markel Bell had some really good reps in
Good.
terms of the combo blocking drills. I was actually told over the weekend by a really good source that they'd be surprised if he's not an NFL draft prospect this year, like a serious one. He looks great out there. Samson Okunlola has definitely improved from last year. He's getting a lot of reps with the ones. He's in discussion to potentially start. So I know for the people that have been asking about Samson for the last 3 years, here's a Samson update. He's getting reps with the ones. So, it may be his time. We'll see as camp progresses. But any last closing notes I'll give about the standouts? Let's see. I mentioned about quarterbacks, the receivers, tight ends. Um, oh, let's see. I
What
mentioned
about D
Brock.
line? Anything on D line?
Sure. I mentioned everything with the DBs I wanted to mention. So last
Yeah,
thing, D line.
D line.
Hayden Lowe. Hayden Lowe. Oh my goodness.
I heard about this.
One particular rep that he had against Tommy Kinsler. So it was Tommy Kinsler and there was a tight end. It was a combo blocking drill. He completely flattened Tommy Kinsler. And Tommy Kinsler is not a small guy. Tommy Kinsler is 6'7", 320, 330 pounds, going up against Hayden Lowe, who is 17 years old, 6'5", 250 pounds. I told the 2 guys next to me, I said, that's not normal for a 17-year-old kid to have grown man strength like that. He just, like, it was just in an instant. It wasn't like a struggle. Like, he just completely flattened him. And Kinsler had good reps out there. So I think that was the nice nature to it of just competitiveness. Someone else who stood out, Ruben Bain had some really good reps. Ahmad Moten as well. Also mention one other guy. Who was it? The Cole McConaughey. Cole McConaughey had some good reps in those situations as well. But I mean, I would say half the practice we got to see some good, decent stuff. The other half was a lot of light stuff, stretching and whatnot, just simple drills, but good stuff overall.
Well, I got a couple questions about running back room and some competitions for position groups who want to keep it locked right here. Gio Million, I love he is shot out of a cannon today. This is fantastic as we're recapping Monday training camp practice. You want to keep it locked right here on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. We've all been there. Logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. It's the only ticket app that I use because Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you could save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. That includes Miami versus Notre Dame, by the way. Those tickets are going to keep going down. If you're tired of the endless scrolling to find the best deal, Game Time's zone deals pick the best seats in your section for you. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, so there are no surprises. And with Game Time, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and game tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. You know, Gio, I think we're both very bullish on the running back room with like the standout top three, we think top three guys, Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyle, CharMar Brown, who transferred in from North Dakota State. What did you see from that group, if anything, today? And any idea on what that rotation might look like come the season?
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that those three will be your top three guys in that committee type of rotation that they'll have. Um, the other thing I'll mention from today, from what I noticed, they're working on pass protection stuff. CharMar Brown's got some pop to his hands when he hits those pads, like you could hear it, and it was from a distance. You could hear it when he hits those pads. Uh, the one thing I'll mention from that, because I heard some things from over the weekend, Jordan Lyle was described to me as better than he was last year. And he's obviously bigger. Everyone sees that he's put on size, but
Yeah.
it was just described to me that he found the hole very quickly that offensive line was able to create for him and gets to the second level very fast. He actually had something that would have been sort of a touchdown if it was full on contact over the weekend. CharMar Brown, this was the description given to me from over the weekend. Travis Homer, but bigger. Maybe not as
Oh,
fast in a
yeah.
straight line, but Travis Homer and bigger. That was the description given to me. He had one run in particular that kind of went, I think it was down the right sideline, I was told. I don't know if it was right or left. I got to ask him again. But basically, he would have had one man to beat, and the likelihood is maybe he would have ran over that guy with a full head of steam going on. So, just really good stuff there going on with the running back room. Mark Fletcher, like I've mentioned before, I've been with this theme all offseason. I'll say again, I've said it about Ray and how he's embraced the competition and he's stepped up his game. Mark Fletcher, best shape of his career
Yeah.
physically. First full off season. Funny enough, Cristobal mentions it at ACC Media Day. So, hey, it just gives gives more weight to what I've been saying throughout the offseason. He's in the best shape of his career, and I think it's going to pay off for him this year.
Now, you've been covering this team for a long time. Just in terms of, and again, training camp, we're not at full contact yet.
Yeah.
But you know, you've been covering football, you've been covering the Miami Hurricanes for a while. Just in terms of the practice intensity, the body types that you see, the plays that are being made in practice, is this the most talented Miami Hurricanes team we've seen in a long time? And well, when was the last time you think we've seen a team like this?
I think you'd have to go back to possibly the 2003, 2004 roster, basically. I think this team is more talented than last year in some spots. The
Yeah.
reason why I say some spots, I believe, I've said this throughout the offseason, I think the receivers group is going to be fine regardless. Kevin Beard, I've been on this statement that every time he's ever been a receiver coach at Miami, his room always produces. And I think Shannon Dawson's system just fits it very well overall. I think the receivers will be fine. I don't know if they're going to be elite because they'll need some more experience through time, but I do think they're going to get the job done. They'll get the job done at receiver. Um, the biggest thing that stands out to me is I've said this, especially after the first day of fall camp, the defense is bigger. Overall, it's bigger. The linebackers are bigger with the additions. Wesley Basaint is the biggest I've ever seen him, and he still moves the same. So it's like there's
Good.
no agility reduction there or anything from putting on size. Um, a guy like Muhammad Toure really stands out with his size. Chase Smith being healthy, that type of body type. Those are those body types like your Muhammad Toure's, your Chase Smiths, your Kellen Wiley's. That's what Corey Heatherman wants in his defense. You even could take note of that with the type of guys they've tried to recruit since he's arrived as well. Those 6'2", 6'3", 230 plus type of guys that can run sideline to sideline and clog up passing lanes as well with that length. And you kind of saw some of that today, like Cam Pruitt breaking up some passes, Kellen Wiley being very active, closing speed, and Chase Smith, 2 pass break. Oh, Darius Hayes had one today too. He actually caught a pick last week as well. So,
Nice.
just the length at linebacker really stands out. There's more mass there. And defensive backs, night and day from last year. The size factor that comes into play there, Zachariah Poyser and Jacoby Thomas, well over 200 pounds. Poyser 6'1", Thomas 6'2". Dylan Day has size himself. He's put on considerable size since last year. Xavier Lucas, 6'2", can run with the best of them. I mean, if you ask me personally, I think he may move the best of all the cornerbacks in the room, and he's like the tallest one. That's the craziest thing. Keontae Scott, very physical, imposing. He had some nice plays today as well. And uh, there was some specific stuff I was told from the weekend about some creative ways that they're getting defensive backs on the field that I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say it gave the offense some hell.
Ooh, I like to hear that. Well, listen, we mega update, and I appreciate Gio and Peter Ariz who joined us for being my eyes and ears out there today since I couldn't make it out to practice. Gio, let people know where they can find you. I know you just finished one of your mega casts right before hopping on with me. When can people see and hear you again?
Yeah, so I just dropped an instant reaction, just quick stuff from what I saw from today. The real details, that's already up on the Discord, actually. If you go over to my X account, x.com / Gio Million, at Gio Million, you'll find the Discord link right in there. I think this team is a very well-rounded team. Um, Again, also, I'll be on 560 WQAM tonight at 7:05 with Larry Bluestein. We're going to be talking about fall camp. I'll be live also tonight before that. I think probably around like 6 or maybe after 7. Depends on how the whole schedule works out. But big live show just talking about everything that I spoke about on the Discord over the weekend and certain things I got to leave out because certain things got to stay private. But yeah,
Sure.
just ton of content. And yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube at Who Wants Smoke _Inc. Me and Amon Richards, we go live every week. I've been live basically like every day, multiple shows, multiple appearances. I'll be on multiple shows tomorrow too. And I got a surgery tomorrow and I'm still going to be on
What?
shows. Yeah.
Well, God,
Yeah.
God bless you, man. I hope that goes well.
Nothing too major, just something minor, but um, just it's fun times around this time of the year. You know, we're just only a few weeks away, Dono.
I
It's
want to see
fun.
Gio live from the operating table. Like he's going under. He's counting backwards from 10. He's talking about how the receiver room's doing. I expect nothing less from Gio, one of the hardest working men in the biz. You know, I try to surround myself with people who work hard like we do here on Locked On Canes. So make sure you check him out, Gio Million on X. Thanks again to Peter Ariz for joining us. Thanks to all of you. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen. For your next listen, make sure you check out the portal. Brian Smith, who's going to be joining us on Locked On ACC later today, not only covers Florida State, but he also covers transfer portal, NIL, recruiting on the portal. It's a podcast, part of the Locked On family. It's available free wherever you get your podcasts. We'll talk to you again on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.